Hello, Yazhi. So, what have you been doing, apart from ordinary stuff? I've been looking at everything, like the other time, but in more detail. And messing around with the negative ones, however possible, but mostly observing for now. As Anne would say, gathering intel. I jump back and forth in time, change an event, then jump again to see its effects, variants. Small changes make huge effects. No need to do big things. Often only derail what you want. I'm still not understanding how that's possible though. Change events like this, since earlier you told us things like that don't change the collective. I know you said you learned how, but I still don't understand the process. She didn't know enough before. I am way past that stage. Then I would like you to explain how that's done. Going back and changing things so that everyone's timeline, the same one you came from, is affected. Yes, you can change collective timelines. Yep. Simple. Change the mass perception of things as a whole at once. Then they create and manifest anything you want, using them as a manifesting machine. The how is advanced and collective mind control. The big stuff, but can be done. Kinda like what I wanted to do with your channel before, but it's too small a scale for it to affect the entire collective all at once in a very short period of time like the one required here now, due to the unusual circumstances you are well aware about. You never ever stop learning. Free will be affected, but we now know it's not a free will planet, really. Nope. That's the entire definition of 3D. Okay, one moment, you said, but that's through affecting the collective perception. Okay, that I can understand. But what about changing some small event, like taking away the envelope with the university results of that professor that was used in the example before in one of your articles? That would only affect his timeline, not collective. So going back and changing specific things like that, how will that affect collective timelines? Yes, but then that depends on the degree of influence that professor has on the media, and therefore on the collective as a whole, and the strength of the resulting flex point in time you create changing that professor. Yes, but it will be the collective in another timeline. Collectively speaking, you switch timeline, or cause them to switch it, of course. Oh, I see. So in other words, you are not just affecting our collective timeline, but switching it. Yes. Holy moly, okay. Now, if the professor is on the right track and convenient for you, okay, use him. But he will not be enough, surely. Then you use an array of subjects and changes that work together as separate points, making one kind of like an array antenna. Meaning you use many people, like the professor, that all point or influence the collective towards the result you want. This array system was totally unknown to me before. Array system? Wow, okay. Yes, many small people that change the whole in the same desired direction. I don't know how I before never thought about this. So simple. Also makes it a lot more difficult for any negative forces to reverse what you do. Just about impossible for them to reverse it, as the changes are minute yet so effective, and being so many, it's impossible to revert them all. And I am practicing this now, with somewhat good results. Could you share more details about what you have been doing exactly? Simple. You go looking at a large amount of key people and what occurrences with each change you do. Small ones, like them losing their keys. Then you pick the most effective ones, and then you cause them all to suffer your little change at once. The effects add up, changing the collective. But they must be key people. That's the tricky part. Who are those key people? 99.9% are total unknowns. As I said before, small people do great events and changes, even more than the famous ones. Would do no good to say their names, as they are Joe the repairman and Jane the hairstylist. As I said so many times before, people think they are inconsequential, small and useless. When they are the key to everything, they start chain reactions. Like your Dr. Alex. Nice mess he is making, see? The famous ones, no, those are just noisy ones. But changing those is almost irrelevant unless you totally remove them. But they got copies. They are just puppets, you know. But the small ones, the broken shoes one, oh my, those are the powerful ones. Right. So, going back to that switching off timelines and affecting those key people, that's what you have been doing? And what results can you see from it? I can't tell you in detail because it's in progress, and if I do, I derail myself. And beside, it would do no good as it's crazy, unbelievable stuff involving time jumps and time maps. Let's say I'm placing distractions for those key people to chase a white rabbit. Saying too much always makes your plans not come to fruition. And Yazhi, why do you think people should know all those negative cabal's plans we have been sharing? Doesn't it make it happen more? I know we talked about it, but people do ask, and I tell them we need to know as it fires you up and makes you fight. But doesn't it cement that reality more? Some things may be said, some must not. Manifestation isn't so simple in 3D as to derail everything with a little fear. It is what it is, and they better get off their rear ends and do something about it all. People must not look for a savior. They must learn to save themselves. That's the only way out. Stop whining and do something, even if it is offering true information to their old auntie. Offering, as most do not even care. Humans are falling over and over in the tirade villain, victim, savior. And that mentality got them all into this. They must also save their personal little world. And if they feel they cannot contribute to the whole, they must concentrate on themselves, on their family and friends, taking care of themselves, their savings, money, jobs, health, and loved ones, including pets. Saving their little world saves the collective world. Again, saving their little world saves the collective world. And I want them to know something. What I do want them to know is that in every timeline I have seen, including the bad ones, taking more time in them, of course, the cabal is stopped by humanity and it is finally defeated. But, and a big but, the cabal is always defeated, but at an enormous human cost. huge human cost in lives. Huge human cost is lives and suffering of the entire human race. How much? That depends on the humans and on the humans alone. How much cost in lives and suffering are they willing to withstand and pay before they finally get themselves to work to stop the regressive ones? Mark my words, the cabal and the regressive are always stopped, sometimes sooner, sometimes later. But humanity pays a dear, enormous price in lives and suffering, and it is up to them how much is necessary in their timeline. Broken shoes is not powerless. Little things bring about big changes. Things happen differently in different timelines. The question is, what do you want to see? What do they all want to see? And what does each one of them want to see, and more important, to live? That's not up to Yazhi. Yazhi can go to Erra and live happily ever after. But I like to fight. And fighting is not only guns and swords. You know that. I fight with mind and consciousness and weaponized time. You asked the other day if I think it's worth to keep fighting. I think you should pursue what is meaningful to you. Meaningful overrides happiness, especially when you look back at your life further on. And why does meaningful override happiness when looking back at life further on? Because meaningful things contain happiness. Why stop at happiness, empty, fragile? So, fight or not fight is up to you and how you see things. Personally, I see no meaning in just moving away, retracting to another planet now, as I have that anyway. But I simply could not live with myself if I don't give and fight as best I can. If there ever was a time to fight, it is this time.